On February 4, 1983, the world was informed that Karen Carpenter, America's golden voice, had died from complications of anorexia nervosa. That was the official answer, a simple explanation for a complex tragedy. But was it the whole truth? Why did her final diary entries vanish from her bedroom before the police could investigate? Why did critical medical records show signs of tampering, and why did the paramedics present that day suddenly go silent? The truth has finally been revealed in a way we never expected. Don't take your eyes off the screen. All the secrets are about to come to light. Childhood and the start of a career. To understand the system that suffocated Karen, we must go back to the first chapters of her life, where the script seemed to have been written by someone else. Karen Carpenter was born in 1950 in New Haven, Connecticut, into a family where every direction revolved around a single axis, the ambition for success. The director of that ambition was her mother, Agnes Carpenter. In 1963, when the Carpenter family moved to California, that decision wasn't about finding a better life for everyone. It was a strategic move to serve the musical career of Richard Carpenter, Karen's older brother. Every upheaval from her living environment, school schedule, to Karen's friends was part of Agnes's plan to shape her children's future. From a young age, Karen Carpenter never truly had a choice. Even her first Ludwig drum set, the starting point of Karen's career, wasn't a gift of pure encouragement. It came with an unspoken demand to produce results. It was never a personal hobby, but a mission. In 1969, when the Carpenters signed with A&M Records, the machine began to operate at breakneck speed. They quickly became a global phenomenon. In just a decade, the duo released 10 albums, won 3 Grammy Awards, and sold over 100 million records. Songs like Close to You, We've Only Just Begun, and Please, Mr. Postman successively dominated the Billboard charts. Paul McCartney called her voice the best female voice in the world, while Elton John asserted that Karen Carpenter was one of the greatest singers of our time. The world fell in love with them, but as the spotlight grew brighter, the invisible golden shackles of control tightened. Every compliment, every gold record became a reason for the family machine to operate more rigidly, turning success into a suffocating prison. The apex of fame and underlying pressure. The Carpenters' success didn't bring Karen freedom. Instead, it built a more elaborate gilded cage, a prison without bars where her own fame was the jailer. To the public, she was a graceful, talented artist under the spotlight, but internally, the Carpenter family had turned the Carpenters into a brand, a managed product. Karen Carpenter was both the soul of the group and the one who bore the entire commercial weight of that success. She was the soul and also the scapegoat. Internally, Karen became increasingly isolated. She had no personal space, no autonomy over any aspect of her life. Major contracts, new projects, and even her personal schedule were dictated by her mother, Agnes, and the management team. Any signs of fatigue or desire for change from Karen were dismissed or seen as signs of weakness. The process of shaping her image and maintaining success became increasingly rigid. The control extended to her social relationships. Friends and people she interacted with were carefully vetted. Only those approved by her family and management were allowed near her. Those who once knew Karen Carpenter confirmed that this controlling atmosphere permeated even the smallest details. This vicious cycle tightened. The more successful the Carpenters became, releasing more albums, breaking sales records, and winning major awards, the tighter the metaphorical shackles around Karen became. The pressure to maintain a perfect image and meet endless expectations grew unbearable. The first signs of exhaustion, fatigue, and cracks in her perfect facade began to appear, but they were always hidden or downplayed. No one in her family or management ever acknowledged or publicly addressed these issues. The world was still applauding, but they couldn't hear the shattering from within. A ticking time bomb had been activated right beneath the pop queen's throne. Health crisis and medical mysteries. As Karen Carpenter's image dominated international media in the early 1970s, abnormal health signs quietly began appearing behind the scenes. Under pressure to maintain an ideal figure and meet a packed work schedule, Karen embarked on a strict diet. Things escalated in 1973. After seeing a performance photo and deeming herself overweight, she began drastically cutting food intake, consuming only water, and exercising excessively. By 1975, Karen's weight plummeted to just 41 kilograms, 90 pounds, a threshold modern medical experts identify as a red alert for an adult with her work intensity. But the real danger didn't just come from the illness, it came from how it was concealed and treated. Alongside her restrictive diet, Karen used laxatives, ipecac syrup, an emetic, and thyroid hormones. These drugs were later found to have caused severe heart damage, though the medical records circulated in the 1970s did not reflect this truth. Expert data indicates that drug concentrations in Karen's blood at certain times were entirely inconsistent with the official diagnosis. Throughout her career, every hospitalization, treatment, or psychological consultation she underwent was shielded from the media by her family or management. Any news about her health was swiftly denied by the PR team, who consistently asserted that Karen was healthy and ready for all performance schedules. In 1981, Karen finally had to admit to her brother Richard that she could no longer control her health. She was admitted to Lenox Hill Hospital in New York, where she received treatment for 8 weeks. But it was here that the medical mysteries deepened. Her medical records at Lenox Hill showed inconsistencies in test results. Notably, many pages of her blood test documentation vanished from the hospital's medical archives. Her treatment history and cardiac monitoring results were edited or replaced with brief, professionally vague notes. The attending physicians changed constantly, some refused interviews, and others later mysteriously disappeared from the medical field. These facts raise serious questions about potential interference with medical records, possibly to protect the Carpenters' image or keep Karen's true condition a secret. While the management team described her as vibrant, optimistic, and producer Herb Alpert once stated that Karen looked healthier and happier than ever, those around her felt helpless. Richard admitted, "We didn't know how to help her." Agnes remained optimistic, believing Karen just needed more sleep to recover. Karen herself never had the power to decide her own long-term treatment options. The public saw an invincible Karen Carpenter, but internally, she was a person being experimented on, with every effort to save herself proving ineffective. This alarming chain of events soon spiraled out of control, pushing aside any real hope and ushering in a period where absolute isolation and layers of control tightened their grip on Karen Carpenter's final efforts. Karen Carpenter's absolute isolation. As Karen Carpenter's health rapidly deteriorated, what transpired behind the closed doors of the Carpenter family became even more secretive. At the heart of every decision, from personal schedules to career direction, was Agnes Carpenter. The mother-daughter relationship had shifted from one of affection to one of control. Agnes often exerted psychological pressure, blaming Karen and Richard for minor issues like not signing enough autographs or imposing stringent demands regarding their image and behavior. In the recording studio, Richard Carpenter was more than just a brother. He was the ultimate arbiter of quality and progress. Descriptions of Richard during their peak suggest a demanding taskmaster who prioritized results above all else. Although Karen was the lead vocalist, she never truly had creative control. Each time she attempted to express her own views, she faced pressure to conform or was steered back into the established framework. During her most difficult times, Karen hoped to find support from friends or personal relationships. However, The wall of silence surrounding the Carpenter family was strong enough to stifle any cries for help. Letters and notes sent to Cherry Boone O'Neill about laxative use, or conversations with Dionne Warwick after personal setbacks, never translated into concrete action. Accounts from friends like musician John Betty's indicate that anyone who tried to speak out faced strong resistance from the family or management. Karen's marriage to Tom Burris exemplified the influence of her family and environment. The two met in 1980, became engaged just 2 months later, and married in August of the same year. At the time, the media hailed it as a major turning point in Karen's life. But just over a year later, the couple separated. Divorce papers were filed in October 1982, a time when Karen's physical and mental health was already at an alarming state. Many sources suggest this brief marriage was partly arranged to appease the media and fulfill family expectations, rather than stemming from Karen's own independent choice. The management and PR team also contributed to reinforcing this firewall of information. Paul Block and Gil Friesen frequently spoke to the press, portraying Karen Carpenter as an optimistic, vibrant young woman, emphasizing her stable health and denying any unfavorable rumors. Meanwhile, Karen Carpenter's personal documents, diaries, letters, and notes reflecting her true emotional state were kept confidential or never made public. Many questions still remain about whether crucial documents came under the absolute control of the family or management, even disappearing from private archives. With every escape route blocked, Karen Carpenter found herself trapped in a vicious cycle of helplessness, despair, and loss, while her family, friends, and management system continued to maintain silence or deny reality. In that space, all signs of tragedy reached an irreversible point, foreshadowing a series of fateful events that the entertainment industry never wanted to reveal. The fateful night and missing evidence. On February 4, 1983, in her mother's home in Downey, California, Karen Carpenter collapsed. Public information confirmed that it was Agnes Carpenter who found Karen unconscious and called for emergency services. But when cross-referencing various sources, many details regarding the time of discovery, the emergency response procedure, and related protocols do not entirely align. Records from Downey Community Hospital and Agnes Carpenter's testimony contain numerous contradictions. The paramedics present that day were restricted from giving interviews, and some later left their positions. This was the moment when all information surrounding Karen Carpenter's death became more ambiguous than ever. The final autopsy report stated the cause of death as emetine cardiotoxicity secondary to anorexia nervosa, with a dangerously high blood sugar level of 1,110 mg/dl, 10 times the normal level. Blood test records noted the presence of laxatives and ipecac syrup, although some information regarding dosage and usage history was left blank or altered multiple times during storage. Notably, some documents were marked as edited, replaced, or disappeared entirely from the medical archives of the hospital and relevant parties. But the most chilling questions arose from what was no longer there. The house's security cameras, the diary in her bedroom, and the audio tapes from her final recording sessions all vanished. This disappearance raised suspicions of deliberate attempts to control or erase all traces of the tragedy. International media uniformly reported a single narrative. Karen Carpenter died from complications related to an eating disorder. News reports merely repeated public statistics without independent investigations at the time. Journalists who were present at the hospital or emergency room that day never reappeared in print, some leaving the profession or moving to other fields for unclear reasons. The first press release from the Carpenter family quickly set the reporting standard, leaving no room for critical questions about emergency procedures, forensic records, or the actual time of death. The funeral was held on February 8, 1983, with nearly 1,000 attendees, but the family issued only a brief statement, making no mention of medical details or treatment processes. Records surrounding Karen Carpenter's final night remain a subject of debate for decades. Conspiracy theories erupted, suggesting that a family member or manager deliberately destroyed documents detailing Karen's health, psychological state, and personal conflicts. The Los Angeles Herald-Examiner once quoted a former crime scene investigator as saying that diary pages had vanished from her bedroom before authorities could examine the scene. Additionally, some external witnesses confirmed to People magazine that they saw personal records being hastily moved on the night of the incident, further fueling suspicions of a deliberate purge of all evidence. Behind the spotlight lay the disappearance of evidence, witnesses, and an unresolved truth. From this moment, the battle for power, memory, and control over the truth of a musical angel entered a new chapter, a chapter where the darkness never truly closed. The battle for the legacy. After Karen Carpenter's death, the struggle for control didn't end. It merely entered a new phase, spanning over 40 years. The Carpenter family quickly established the Karen A. Carpenter Memorial Foundation, officially funding research programs on eating disorders. Under the guise of charity, this fund also allowed the family to control every aspect of Karen's personal legacy, musical assets, and image. All decisions related to album tracks, recording contracts, and tribute programs were coordinated by Richard Carpenter and legal representatives without the involvement of any outside individuals. Karen Carpenter's music continues to live on, inspiring artists like Madonna, Taylor Swift, and Adele. But the shadow of control and the unresolved mysteries surrounding her death mean her legacy remains forever shrouded by an impenetrable veil. Richard Carpenter, as the ultimate authority over the Carpenters brand, often appears in tribute programs as the sole spokesperson, shaping both public memory and academic documentation of the group. Above all, the legal battles, disputes over memory, information censorship, and commercial power have not only distorted the truth, but also transformed Karen Carpenter into a symbol of the dark side of the entertainment industry. It's a place where a voice can live forever, but the truth remains buried under layers of power. Every Christmas season, Karen Carpenter's music resonates throughout the world, but behind it lies an unending struggle for control over her legacy, her story, her memory, and the truth about an angel who never truly found peace. Karen Carpenter's voice may be immortal, but the truth about her life remains buried under layers of control. Every Christmas, her music plays on, but that angel seems to have never truly found peace. For as long as the questions remain, the darkness will never truly close. If Karen Carpenter's story makes you reflect on the hidden corners of the entertainment industry and the true value behind the glamour, share your thoughts in the comments below. In your opinion, what is the ultimate truth that still remains concealed? Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to join us in uncovering more mysterious files about the world's greatest music icons.